Do you remember when we thought that there will be a new world which could be born from the pandemic? The miracle did not happen. The world was not changed by a magic wand. So now we are a sort of bit of hangover. We need to roll up our sleeves again. But if the pandemic did not lead to a new and ideal world, it shows a couple of very important lessons, and one of them is that we need consistency. The pandemic disrupted our lives. The economy became dependent from human and natural factors. The environment, health, transportation, schools. Companies that thought they were all powerful suddenly discovered that there was no business without public health. That without the support of the government, businesses could be bankrupt in a couple of weeks. But without people working on the backside, on the back lines, the fight was lost. So this is a new paradigm. This is a new context in where we have to act. This framework, in this new framework, state, business, economy, civil society are interconnected. So now the question is, how can we make it more coherent? How can we reconnect the economy and the general interest? And my conviction is that to succeed, we need to change the system from the inside, from where we are. Each are in our own place, within our community, within our building, within our territory, within our company. This is my story, and I wanted to share it with you. And one of the reasons why I wanted also to share it with you is because the inside I'm going to tell you about is a very special one. It's a sort of the core of the inside, the heart of the reactor. I mean, the world of finance. And if we can tackle this one, I think anything is possible. 10 years ago, I created Mirova, a company which is dedicated to invest in sustainable development. And at that time, a lot of people thought that sustainability and finance were two oxymorons. And still today, a lot of people think that sustainable finance is an illusion. But what I think interesting is much more the transformation process, how we can handle this. What are the stages? What are the prerequisites? What are the pitfalls? It starts with a click. And the click sometimes happens when you do not expect it. But you can also go looking for it. And we are all different. We have all our sensitivity, our indignities, our personal and familial history. So we need to start from ourselves. According to a survey made by Microsoft worldwide, 41% of the employees were considering to quit their job in 2022. Why? Because the pandemic has reinforced the search for a meaning. Because it became obvious that having a job which is in line, which is coherent with our conviction, and also a job which has a positive impact on society, becomes a requirement. So, of course, you can quit. One can quit. You can resign. You can, see if the grass is greener elsewhere. But this is not the only way out. You can also change things from the inside. It requires, of course, a lot of initiative, and it requires, a dose of risk-taking. So I had my breakthrough. It was on one of these never-ended roads in the Arizona desert. It was in 2007. I was in vacation with my family, and I was just starting the first leading managing role that I have in my career at Natixis. And then the subprime crisis just happened. And so I was on this road, listening to the radio, and between two country music songs, there was this commercial about mortgage loans. And it said, it's very easy to get it. You can get it even if you don't have any money, if you don't have any personal contribution. So that means that at the time where I was trying to save the business of my company in Europe, there in the US, the craziness continued. Like nothing had happened, business as usual. So I realized that finance were just pushing us, leading us into a wall of complexity, a wall of opacity, a wall of disconnection to reality. So I started to open my mind. I started to listen, to learn, to debate. I mean, you cannot make the revolution without questioning yourself. So I started to speak with people who were already doing responsible finance at that time, the militants, the pioneers. I immersed myself into the history of ethical and responsible finance. Do you know it starts in the 18th century in the US, when the Quakers, this religious community, decided to stop investing in two of the most profitable businesses of that time, weapons and slave trade. So I also exchanged with people who were against it. We were saying that responsible finance was just a fashion, that our clients didn't want us to do this, that it will destroy value. And I thank these people very much. I remember one of them was a portfolio manager at Natixis. And we started to have a kind of epistolary relationship. So we send us emails back and forth, arguing about the topic. And all this became the material for the first book I wrote in 2009 about sustainable finance. But knowing is not enough. You have to get the power to act. And so you have to ask you the right questions. What are the places where I already have the power? What are the places where I can get the power with, collaborating with others? And what are the places where I do not have the power, but I want to take it? So from there, you can build a strategy, and you can start acting. Sometimes you will feel like probably you are alone. But if you start with this mindset, you will keep meeting people who are doing the same thing or are wishing to do the same thing. During the last 10 years at Mirova, I met a lot of these, I call them fellow travelers, employees who are knocking at the door of the company, wanting to work with them, students who want to change the world, social entrepreneurs that we finance, people working for international organizations. But at the end of the day, if you listen what's going on inside you, if you have an open-minded attitude, and if you find ways to leverage your power, then the revolution from the inside becomes possible. And then, if you succeed in this first transformation, you can think bigger. You can think about doing systemic change at scale. I think one important thing in this change of scale, change of systemic world, is governance. I guess you remember 2015, the COP21 and the Paris Agreement. But in 2015, there was another big international conference in New York at the UN headquarters. All the states gathered and decided to adopt what we call the Sustainable Development Goals. Sustainable Development Goals are basically a kind of business plan for the planet by 2030. This is the definition of the general interest: eradicating poverty, fighting against climate change, ensuring equality between men and women. 17 objectives. 17 objectives, meaning that now we have a framework. Not only states, but also companies have a framework in which we can build a strategy and we can act in coherence with the general interest. There are many ways to do it. There is one which has been created by the French law 3 years ago. In this PACT Act, this law, we now have the possibility in France to create companies which are mission-driven companies. So these mission-driven companies are companies in which the managers ask themselves the right questions. What is our mission? What is the brick we are contributing to build this world, which is the general interest? What kind of relationship should I create with all my stakeholders? Okay, so Mirova became a mission-driven company in 2019. So 2 years ago, we were one of the first in the financial sectors to make it, and today we are experiencing how powerful it is. How powerful to align all the people in the company and our stakeholders outside the company on the same objective, on the same way. How powerful it is to manage talents. How powerful it is to attract new people. But let's go even further. We need to create a coalition from climate activists to bankers. Bernard Stiegler was a French philosopher, and he told me this 2 years ago. It was just a couple of weeks before he passed away. And it's so true. If we want to build to move into this new capitalism, which is in line with the issues of the 21st century, we need to open wide our doors. The fact that we change things from the inside does not prevent us to listen to the people who are outside and who want to make the revolution from the outside and who want to turn the tables. I remember the second edition of the Climate Finance Day, which is the biggest event for the Paris Green Financial Center. It was in 2017, and the day before the event, I received a text message saying that our hashtag CFD 2017 was climbing in the social network, and just a couple of hours later, it was trending topic. So we were very happy about this virality of our event until we discovered that we owe this to the fact that NGOs have decided to hack our hashtag and our event in order to denounce the negative impact of finance on biodiversity, nature, and climate. And so the day of the conference, which was opened by the French Ministry of Economy, the Minister of Economy and the Minister has to answer to the NGOs and to announce new commitments from the governments. And so I think this is exactly how things are happening, how things are moving, when we put together very different people from different horizons. So I think that basically the ones who are changing the system from the inside are the best allies of the ones who want to make the revolution from the outside. And we need to create this bridge between the two. For years, I segmented my life. During the week, I was a banker, managing millions of euros for the behalf of big financial institutions. And during the weekend, I was, demonstrating in order to save the art house cinema in my suburban towns, or I was distributing tracts for a leftist party at the market. And then I realized that it was possible to create a coherence, to integrate my environmental and social convictions into what I was doing in my professional life. It took me 20 years. And what strikes me today is the fact that the younger generations, you are already aware of this. That's a big change. That's a systemic change. So you who are at the dawn of your career, who are going to take responsibilities in big companies or maybe create your own company, you have a big role to play, which is to change the system, to change the economy in order to make it coherent with the general interest. Start by yourself, start by who you are, what you are, and then align your identity, your life, your commitments, and create this coherence, because this is the coherence which will give you the scope for action. And this is this coherence which will allow you to have an impact. Thank you.